Sitting in the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old style beers out at the game. Let's go, Cubby, Son Ranto, Son Ranto, Son Ranto and the lovable loser. Son Ranto, Son Ranto, Son Ranto and the lovable losers. Son Ranto.
Hello, everybody. My ears are ringing now, and so are yours.
That was way too much effort for this team at this moment.
Well, maybe you'll get them going, Michael, because this team is anemic.
God, I hope so.
Welcome to the Son Ranto Show. My name is Danny Rocket. This show is brought to you by the Bleacher Bunch Productions on the Fans First Sports Network. It's got other great shows like Cup of Cubby Blue and the Cubs PS Plus podcast. And it's also brought to you by our 109 Patreon supporters. Please support us at patreon.com/sunranto if you'd like to. Also, our super duper ranters, Blake Beards Tickets, Rogue Wave Creative, and Mike Waller and the Cubs PS Plus podcast. Matt Kammerer's Permanent Paintings in the Clutch shirts. And hey there! Hashtag Chance in the chat, and you can win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom. And we've got a very special guest.
I have to say right now, IFG, I don't want to be an asshole here. Looking bad.
Yeah,
IFG, all right, like seriously,
what
whatever you did at work today, don't do that again.
Yeah.
Well, I live in the Pacific Northwest, so you have to grow facial hair.
Yeah.
For this time of year, spring up here is kind of like fall everywhere else. So.
Yeah, it's kind of eternal spring up there, isn't it? So we're just kidding. That's Joe Kilgallon. Welcome to the Son Ranto Show, Joe. You've been on here many times. You're a fan favorite. And I'm walking around and I'm trying to promote RanterFest. And one of the main things I tell people is like, oh, and Joe Kilgallon's performing on Friday, May 31st. And they're like, ooh, Joe Kilgallon? I'm like, oh, yeah. We got all the stars coming out. So you're a draw, dude. I'm going to start saying everything I do. I'm just like, oh, and Joe Kilgallon's going to be there. And they're like, oh, yes. Like, I'm going to go shopping, and I think Joe Kilgallon might be at the Jewel. And they'll be like, oh, that's incredible.
More of a Mariano's guy lately, but sure. Throw my name around wherever you can.
Okay, so you're doing well then.
Joe's like, I got money, kid. Yeah, I'm going to Mariano's.
More expensive these days. Jewel really is not what it used to be. Jewel has lost a lot on its fastball. Let's put it that way.
Oh, well, we know a little bit about that. We'll talk about Kyle Hendricks in a little bit. Speaking of losing on the fastball. But anyway, we asked Joe to join us. IFG should be along soon. Michael Cotton's here. You just heard him screaming. And
I honestly, I think it's going to be amazing, this RanterFest, with Eric Wheelo being a Brewers fan. And Billy, I'm a little drunk right now.
Great. You might be starting drunk. Okay.
Yeah, I'm drinking Pepsi Zero right now because unlike most shows where I get drunk during the show, I'm actually trying to get sober during this show.
Oh, so it's like a reversed situation. It's like Merrily We Roll Along the musical.
Yes, backwards. I'm trying to reverse everything. But yeah, but Billy DeVore is a Reds fan, and Joe is representing the Cubs. We don't have a Pirates guy, do we?
We do, but he couldn't come. His name is Zach Short.
See, and that's why I was a little confused because I know that at one point he was going to come, but now he can't. So, it's going to be fun to see all of these guys just completely destroy the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, that's going to be what I'm looking forward to the most. I mean, Danny and I were at the Cubs game last night. We got to talk a little bit about how Eric is basically going to be like the WWE heel. He's going to do everything possible to get boos. I imagine just a chorus of boos, even during his stand-up set. I think that's what he's going for. Where Billy has that fun Cincinnati thing where it's like, yeah, we're in the NL Central, but we're not really rivals. And we're just these guys that are kind of, down the way a little bit. And we haven't won since 1990. We're harmless.
Anybody want a chili cheese dog?
You don't care. You know, yeah. And then you're right. We have no Pirate representative. And then we all just hate the Cardinals. It's like when I do shows in Wisconsin to win them over, I say, let's just get together and talk shit about Indiana. That's what we're all going to do. We're going to get together and talk shit about the Cardinals. And hopefully that makes everyone have a good time.
Yeah, and we do also have another Reds podcaster, Billy DeVore's co-host, Chris Weir's performing too, and we also have Ken Schultz, who writes at Outsports, big Cubs fan, good friend of ours as well. So it's a full slate, and let me just promote that real quick. Friday, May 31st, Output Lounge post-game comedy Bleacher Bum Band, $15. All the money goes to Lost Boys. What can I be clearer than that? And then Saturday, we are doing it's really the main event of RanterFest, which we're meeting at noon, from like about noon to 12 to 3:30, 3:30. We're going to play games. We're going to have contests. We've got trivia. We've got John Benedict going to come and sing. We got Miguel Esparza is going to come and sing Elvis. It's good. We've got a fashion show going to happen. Crawley's going to lead some bingo. Like, it is going to go. It's going to be a really fun and chock full event. And that's going to be Saturday at Almost Home. That's at noon. Man, we got great prizes. Club 400, 2 tickets to the 1984 Cubs are the event, which is $600 value. I believe Michael Cotton somehow just like fell into his Pepsi Zero and died. It's because he's gone. So let's replace him with somebody way better than Michael, and that's Infield Fly Girl.
Hi.
Just home for but tough day at the office, huh?
Oh, just a meeting went late, and I was stuck way south of the city, and I'm a transit person, so it was just a long ride back home. But I'm here now, and I'm shocked I was only 10 minutes late. But even better, check it out. Look what I found in a mailbox.
Oh, in the clutch. What's in there? Unbox.
Unbox.
Well, hey, how's it going, IFG? I'm glad to see you. Sorry about that, everybody. I had a very quick power outage that just shut all my stuff down. That was no fun.
I thought it was your alcoholism that caused it, but I guess it was the actual power.
Well, I mean, the power outage was me kicking the thing out of the wall.
Hey, Cotton, shut up for a second. I want to show up on your street. Look!
Okay.
Oh, hey,
nice.
Chicago.
Hey, Chicago.
Nice.
Oh, I'm very excited. Whee!
So, and Billy, we were just talking about Billy
It was
DeVore.
super fast. I ordered this like during the last show.
Nice. Sweet. Show to show, that's the service that we promise. So anyway, it's going to be a really fun. We got tons of great raffles, prizes, lots of tickets. Have been sold. I just want to put this out there. We are selling this shirt, the RanterFest shirt. Yeah, Joey's bringing it up right now. It looks like this. It is the RanterFest shirt.
Amazing.
It is awesome. This is Matt Kammerer's artwork on the shirt. I freaking love this thing. I've been putting it all over Wrigleyville. Today, I went in and I put, like at the troughs where they have like the place you could put your beer, the little shelf. You could put your beer in front of the trough, like as you're standing at the trough.
Yeah.
I put flyers. Matt Kammerer's artwork.
I like that IFG was the only one that agreed. Yes, I totally know what you're talking about.
Do you have any idea how many pictures of those troughs float around?
Yeah, it's not a mystery. Yeah.
Joe and I are like,
look at the shirt. It is clearly implying that I am there with everybody else.
Yeah. Joe and I are both like, we're trying to forget. We're trying not.
Commercial at that trough. True story. Like
Exactly. So if you go to sunranto.com/ranterfest, you will find a link to not only the In the Clutch shirt that will be sent to you if you can't come to RanterFest, but you can save money by buying it directly from us. And there's a link for that too there. So there's 2 ways to buy the shirt. One is from us and it's $20. The other way costs more, but you can only buy it from us if you're coming to RanterFest because you'll be picking it up and saving on shipping.
You know what, Danny? There's actually a third way. Roberto Ramos ordered a small on accident. So if you're coming to RanterFest, you could just buy his from him and give it to, I don't know, one of your children.
Luckily, Roberto ordered it from me, so I was able to fix this mistake for Roberto Ramos, who is not a small unless he's going to try to wear it on his foot.
Oh, now think about that, people. Danny can fix your order. You think you want a medium, and Danny's like extra large for you, fatty.
Actually, you had a rough off season. So anyway, RanterFest, please come. I'm going to take VIP tickets off very soon because it's pretty much almost filled up for the tables. So if you do want a table, this is really your last chance. I'm going to take it off tomorrow. So if you really want a reserved seat at a table, otherwise you'll be standing maybe in the back. So I'd hate that for you if that's not what you wanted. All right, so let's get into these games. We might as well start with today because it just happened. And we lost 3-0. Cubs 4 lousy hits. There was a AAA bum named AJ Smith-Shawver, who I just heard of when I got to the game.
Real person. I'm sorry, I refuse.
Create a player.
I only heard of him because I did the Cubs spot this morning and had to preview this game, and I realized, Smith-Shawver. I'm like, who is this guy? Oh, he was drafted in 2022, made his professional debut in 2023, because apparently in other organizations, you do not have to pitch at the minor league level for 8 years.
No,
that doesn't
crazy.
seem real either.
Yeah.
I don't know. As far as I can tell, the Braves are a horrible organization. They don't know anything about pitching. They're terrible in every aspect of the game. And so they let this guy come up 1 year after they drafted him. It seems insane to me as well. But yeah, he pitched. He started 5 games last year and showed up in a relief role in 1 game 1 year after he was drafted. And then he took a little break because that's tiring for a guy. And then he just showed up against us today
to mow us the hell down. And that was really, I mean, the guy had a 6.10 ERA in the minors and then he came up and mowed us down. It was really tough. The positive, I would say, Ben Brown, and we could talk about this for a second, Joe, I'll throw this to you. Like, Ben Brown used a lot of different ways. You know, we saw him start today, saw him in the pennant, I guess against the Pirates. So how are you feeling about Ben Brown, and what do you think the best use of Ben Brown is right now?
I want him back in the rotation right now. He's looked phenomenal in pretty much every role we've given him. I mean, he was a little bit nervous his first outing in Seattle, I believe, but then since then he's been pretty.
Well, that was a relief role, I think, for his first time.
Yeah, which was a weird. I still don't get that move. They call him up, right? Because Steele got injured. And they have him coming in like the 2nd or 3rd inning. They had an opener for that game, I believe. Or they had him even later. No, I'm sorry. They had him later. And I still thought, like, it always makes sense to bring up a rookie and have them make their debut on the road because it's less pressure in front of the hometown crowd. You know, that was a thing I thought they were smart about doing over the last handful of years. But no, I want Ben Brown. God, I love him in long relief. I guess keep him in the role he's in right now as a hybrid role. I've talked myself out of the original role of him being a starter because that bullpen is just still scary bad. Kyle's first outing. Here, let me say this. I don't want to pivot to giving Counsell a hard time, but I was told Counsell was some sort of whiz with the bullpen, right? And whenever Ross found himself in a situation like this, where it's like, hey, I have to use him, I have no one else, people would say, well, you need to manage it better so you don't get in these situations. Okay, well, how come we're not giving Counsell a hard time where he had no choice but to bring in Kyle Hendricks, who historically horrible against the Atlanta Braves in a close game at the end of the game, like high leverage, late inning. The game was still within grasp. And then, you know, he gives up 2 runs and now it's 3-0 as opposed to 1-0. I just feel like people should be fair. Give Counsell a little bit of grief too.
Well,
yeah, fuck Craig Counsell. Fuck him.
See, I love this. We get a guest on. He talks shit about Craig Counsell. It was 1 or 2 weeks ago where all I said was Craig Counsell isn't that much better than David Ross. And I got eviscerated because I said he wasn't that much better. And I think maybe I'm being proven out here. you can only do so much.
Well, no, I think Craig,
and I think Craig Counsell is better.
Wait, one at a time.
So.
Yeah, no, I think Craig Counsell is better than David Ross. I do, across the board. But he's not so much better that he can take whatever we have and just change it to the best bullpen in the league, you know?
See, I was told he was the Messiah all offseason. I was told he was the second coming, and I should be grateful that he's even entering the city limits. That's what I was told by so many Cubs fans. I agree with you, though. Look, Counsell is got a track record of being an awesome manager, but I just feel like he's still in this honeymoon phase with Cubs fans because they want him so badly. But he's not void of criticism. Like a lot of managers with crappy bullpens, there's going to be things that make you scratch your head. And the whole time during Ross's run, I feel like fans forgot that because Ross had a hard task of taking over after Madden, who's beloved. And he had the hard task of starting during COVID. All of our favorites were on their way out the door. Not his fault. I just thought there was a lot of unfair criticism towards him. And I didn't want this to be a Counsell versus Ross thing. I just thought about this in relation to Ben Brown, where he should be in the starting rotation. He looks like an everyday major league starter, but because the Cubs have this problem with the bullpen, I kind of like him in the swing role that he's currently in.
Yeah, where are you, IFG, with that as Ben Brown? They've had him all over the place, even closed, I believe, a little bit.
My brain is always like, give the guy a job and let him do the job. And this poor guy has got like 6 jobs and doesn't know from one day to the next what it is. And I never like that when that is the best possible option. Unfortunately, because of injuries and general suckitude and Jed Hoyer's terrible planning, this is where we're at. Like, somebody needs to throw the baseballs in the late innings, and he is a person who can do that. So let's let him do that for a little while, I guess. And, it's like, I don't think there's any situation that's going to make us all happy right now.
Well,
I disagree.
As long as it keeps not working, it's not going to make us happy. Like Hendo, like you brought up Hendricks today, they have him in the 8th. So I mean, it's a perfect obvious shirt. 88 in the 8th.
That's the first night game,
like,
Danny.
We are throwing Kyle Hendricks out there. He is taking up space on the roster until July 14th or something, when we can have a going away party
when he hits his 10 years.
And, send him over the Rainbow Bridge to go live on a farm upstate. But we can only use what we have, and we don't have better than what we have.
I want the obvious shirt that has Kyle Hendricks on a Rainbow Bridge.
And then,
but I also want to say real quick, I agree.
Madrigal on the Rainbow Bridge, Nick Madrigal, like standing next to a pot of gold.
No. I'm actually writing a letter to Hercule Poirot to figure out why exactly Nick Madrigal seems to have the most stable job on this roster. I don't understand it. It is a mystery for the ages. Surely there is like a hidden book somewhere with a curse. I don't know.
Nick Madrigal is a comic book character. No matter how much he dies on screen where we're watching him, he always shows up in the next episode for some reason.
Running with his tiny little legs.
But about Ben Brown, I wanted to say I agree with IFG and what she was saying in that he needs a role, right?
Yes.
I disagree in that we won't be happy with anything. I think we would be happy with something. I think we would be happy in Ben Brown wherever he is, if he understands where he is.
Right.
If 1 week he is in the bullpen and the next week he's starting and the next week he's closing and like he doesn't necessarily know what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think that's bad for Ben Brown. And if it's bad for Ben Brown, guess what? It's bad for the Chicago Cubs.
100%. No, pitchers are creatures of habit. They can't do different things all the time. They got to be doing the thing that they do.
All of these guys are creatures of habit. Very few of them moved on from high school, right? They just need a focus. They need mommy and daddy to say, this is what you do, and try not to do any more than that until at least they get older.
Well,
right?
which is what's weird about an older guy like Hendo, and I'd love to talk a little bit about Hendo as if Brown's the guy on the way in, and we saw Hendo now 88 in the eighth, and to me, like that's stupid. Like even if we're just doing it till July, like that's a long time from now. That's like 2 months from now almost. You could lose the season by throwing him out there. Like we didn't score any runs today. The offense has been offensive, it's been absolutely terrible. But like if you're in a 1-0 game and you're throwing Hendo out there and he's gonna give up those 2 runs that he's always giving up, that's not gonna work. Like you're looking to hold the game there, not let it slip away. And so,
now, ideally, you would have a roster of hitters who, could hit water if they fell off a barge.
It helps.
Barge. Good word.
But yeah, no, that would
But
help.
like, you can't win games if you don't score runs. So it doesn't matter who's throwing the baseballs if the other team is the only one doing any scoring.
Well, and then last night, go ahead, Joe.
Well, I'll say this about Hendricks. I don't think the plan is to throw him out in the 8th inning going forward. My hope is that they'll start scoring runs, go up 8-0 against the Cardinals, a team that Hendricks has historically been good against. Even this latest run of Cardinal players, he pitched great against them last season, and they're missing their best hitter. Let him take mop-up work in games like that. But like IFG said, in order to do that, you have to be able to hit water if you fall off a barge. So I need them to start hitting so that we could give Kyle these innings. And then maybe at that point, you could put Ben Brown in the rotation. I'm worried about Steele as well. I'm sure you want to pivot to him at some point, but I'll let you be the host.
Well, no, but I mean, let's go to Steele because 9-2 loss last night. Now it wasn't 9-2 the whole game. In fact, we were being perfect gamed for quite a bit of the game.
Well, yeah, the story is not that Steele only went 6.1 because, let's be fair, Steele went 6.1. We're generally happy with that. It's that he went 6.1 and the Cubs didn't score anything.
Yeah, and he probably should have not come out for the 7th, even though he was pitching pretty well. But it seemed like that would have been a moment to be like, okay, that went well. Let's stop it there and let's get some clean innings going because that's really when the wheels fell off last night. Then
Well,
still put a couple
Fried is over there just dominating for 9 innings.
Complete game.
When's the last time we even thought that the Cubs fans even thought that we might have a guy go into the 9th inning? This is his second complete game this year.
I think it was when we sent Shota out for that 8th inning.
Yeah.
8th inning.
I mean, with Steele, like you were saying, Danny, and shout out to Crawley. We were at the game. Crawley was sitting next to me. He called it right when Steele came out for the 7th. It's like, Steele has been scuffling. I still feel like maybe he came back too soon from that injury because there's something about him that just doesn't quite look right. I can't pinpoint it, but there's something off. He would have finished his line with 6 innings, 2 earned runs against an offense that's one of the best in baseball, a World Series contending team. Let him take that confidence going into his next start. He needs that. That's what the move would have been there. I didn't like bringing him out. That's how you say it, right?
Kuas. Yes. Kuas.
And I felt like I added an extra syllable there for sure.
I like.
So he had been pitching better of late, but I don't like bringing in a guy that's a ground ball pitcher in a situation where he's in the middle of an inning.
Danny, you froze, and then you came back right in the middle of what Joe was saying.
He's stuck. He's gone.
He is still frozen.
He's still frozen. So, Joe, what you were saying, though, is bringing in – you had an issue with which pitcher they decided to bring in at that moment, right?
Yeah, I don't like bringing in a guy who's a ground ball reliever who has been pitching a lot better lately. Obviously, he started the season terribly. We thought like this is why, but he'd been better of lately. That's true, right? And bring him in to an inning that's messy is not the move. You might as well let him start the 7th because guys like that, he just gives up too much contact to bring him in with runners on. When runners are on base, that's when you bring in your guys who miss bats because you need strikeouts. So yeah, I think that's when and obviously he didn't miss any bats. He gave up a grand slam. He got lit up and it ruined Steele's line even more so. So now you have a guy who last year was competing for Cy Young, whose ERA is floating around almost, 5.89 or something. So not pretty.
Do we have any bat missers other than 91-mile-an-hour throwing Shota Imanaga, who is apparently a miracle and a unicorn. And
I mean,
Porter Hodge looked good in his one inning.
yeah,
Porter Hodge looked good for one inning in garbage time.
New closer.
Lighter
Lighter
comes in and looks great. Unfortunately, they use Lighter every 2 out of every 3 games.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's that thing where you find one guy a season and you ride him like a rented horse until he's dead.
Neris seems good after he's walked 3 guys. He seems to miss some bats.
He focuses on, well, and then the one game that we did win was basically it took 10 innings to do it, and then you had Assad versus Morton. Assad walked too many guys, but he was still pretty good, and he managed to get the job done. The dude knows what he's doing out there. And then we had Miller, who's the new Olds bullpen guy because he used to be on the Cubs. Now he's back. And then we really only won because Zach Short dropped a baseball, and because he was standing there at third base, the wind was going crazy, hit off his glove, and then and then it fell on the ground, and then that opened the floodgates, if you want to call it. These days, that's as much as floodgates as we're getting.
I do want to give props to Bush on that fly ball ending up at second base.
At second, yeah.
Good Lord.
Awesome.
So we have seen in this, look, and I'm not going to diss on a lot of these guys from Atlanta because they look to be a better team than the Cubs right now. But there were times when you could say that they lollygagged it down to first or second or whatever. And if Bush had done that, which honestly would have been justified because he popped it up to the third baseman, he would have been at first. But he got an extra base out of that because he's like, I don't care what's about to happen. I'm just going to start running fast and see where I end up.
Good strategy.
Yeah.
It's kind of the best strategy regardless. It's something you learn in Little League. If you make contact, run hard. Don't look at the ball. Just see how far you can go. Pick up your coaches. That's all you need to do. It's Little League.
No, it's very, very sound advice. I think those Braves players, though, that you mentioned were lollygagging, I think it's because they're saving their energy for October. So they're also very good at what they do, and sometimes they're just kind of like, yeah, that one wasn't good. I mean, they beat us 5 out of 6 games? Is that right? Because we played them 6 times.
Yeah, we only. Well, did we?
Did we not?
I mean,
did we get one in Atlanta? I don't even remember anymore.
I think we got one. So
which is insane because it's only been 1 week, and I can't remember that far back.
And and we only won because Nico Horner and Dansby are both back. They came back on the Tuesday game to start this, and this might take a little bit of time for them to kind of get going again. Like I heard on the radio as I was a little late to the game today, that Pat Hughes asked Ron Coomer, after you come back from an IL stint, how long does it take you to get going? And, Coom Dog said, well, basically it's however long, it depends what kind of issue you had, that you're dealing with. So, so we might just see, it might take a while for these guys to really get going. I mean, Dansby's looked okay since he'd come back. Nico Horner was the one that walked it off, but all he did was hit the ball. It was like a walk-off Baltimore chop. He hit the ball straight into the ground. It went high up in the air. It was just enough to score the run. So,
and I mean, if you think about what all of these guys are dealing with, Saya's got a sore oblique, and Belly has got a cracked rib, and what is Ian Happ dealing with, a hamstring again or something? I don't remember.
He has been, yeah.
Yeah. So everybody is kind of sore and beat up, and it is not June yet.
Well, luckily,
yeah,
Luis Vasquez is holding down the bench real well. So we got that going for us.
I mean, we'll see what he could do. He struck out last night, but
he's not playing. He's not playing. They brought him back when they got their middle infield back. They brought him up. They're like, wait, we got our second baseman back. We got our shortstop back. They're going to start in the same game. Let's bring Luisito Vasquez up because why?
Yeah,
So that we can send PCA down.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in the second part of the show. I've got that in there. Let's
Okay,
move.
sorry.
Someone didn't look at the script, did they?
No, I literally just got here, but I was really frustrated. The Patreon people, if you do not subscribe to the Patreon, you missed today an epic rant. 25 minutes.
I can't wait. I did not have a chance to listen
of
yet, but
me losing my mind.
When I saw that you apologized as you posted, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good."
Well, I apologize because I noticed that there are 2 people that signed up for the free. Like, there's a way to get into the Patreon for free. It's a trial to see what it is. And when I saw there was 2 free people, I'm like, oh God, I am going to scare these people away before they ever give us a dime. And I hope that didn't happen. I hope they heard me and they're like, oh my God, this dude's speaking the truth. Here's $40. That's what I hope happened. Well, it probably didn't.
Dominic liked it, and he's a mailman, so we know how stable those people are. Not like going postal isn't an actual like term that means losing your mind.
but here's the thing, and this goes to the overall team, and that's the thing. It wasn't so much a recap of the game, but more a recap of the season and the seasons that we have had. Because I'm sorry, my brain doesn't work the same as other people's, and I can't really look at one game and go, "Oh, that's one game." I see the last 10 years of this fucking team, and it drives me insane every single day. I cry when I go to sleep. Yes, it's true. But here's the thing. They keep telling us that this is the best team that they can put out there. They keep telling us they have great kids in the minors that we never see. They keep telling us that everything is going as planned. But all the Braves had to do was put a left-hander on the mound. And this front office and management crew threw everything out the window, and they got rid of their entire lineup. They got rid of their defense. They got rid of everything. And they're like, oh my God, we have a lefty ace coming. We have to change everything. And we went with 8 right-handed hitters. 8. The day before against a righty, we had left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, all the way through the order until Amaya, because catchers generally aren't left-handed. And then they put a lefty on the mound, and we changed that to 8 right-handed hitters and Cody Bellinger. That's what they did. And my argument is they are telling everyone in the world, not directly, but they're telling everyone, including that team that has to go out there and try to compete every day, you're not good enough. You're not a good team. And if you were a good team, we would put the exact same goddamn lineup out there every day, because we know that you can kick the ass out of any fucking pitcher that shows up. But they didn't do that. You know who did do that? Atlanta did that.
Yeah, but
Atlanta sent the same fucking bunch of guys out there, and they said, you know why? Because Atlanta doesn't change their fucking lineup because of the other team's pitcher. Atlanta puts the team on the field that's going to be the best fucking team. And they're like, you know what? These are our guys. They're the best we have, and we think they're going to kick your ass. And the Cubs shit their pants every time a fucking left-hander comes out, and they're like, we have to figure out what the edge is. Our guys aren't good enough. Let's put Nick Madrigal at third base. For the love of God, it's the only answer. I'm fucking tired of this shit.
Well, don't worry.
Look, I love the Cubs, but I love the Cubs, the guys who fucking play the game. And I want the guys who play the game to get a chance to play the fucking game. And I want the fucking front office, and I want Craig Counsell, and I want all those fucking assholes to shut the fuck up, sit on the bench, and let the fucking guys play. The guys who are good enough to be here, there's a reason for that. They fucking battled through their entire lives because they're with the Cubs, 12 years of the fucking minor leagues to get on this fucking team. Let them fucking play the fucking game.
I thought you maybe needed some background music. So
yeah,
too late. Just like the Cubs front office.
A lot of teams cotton platoon players. That's not that unheard of. What we did yesterday against Max.
No. Atlanta platoons one player, the number 9 hitter.
Well, I will say this much.
But the Dodgers platoon a bunch of guys. They platoon Jason Hayward. I mean, we platoon Wisdom.
They have more stars.
Okay,
though.
but that is not what the Cubs do. This was not a platoon situation. They changed their entire lineup. Well, because they're like, we have to have every right-hander that we've ever met in our lives out there because Fried is going to kick our ass. And guess what Fried did?
He did anyway.
He kicked every fucking right-hander's ass that he saw last night.
Well,
two nights.
But don't worry, Michael, because Craig Counsell's on it. He understands what's going on. He's looking at the situation. He's being honest with it. Look what he said on Marquee. He says it was a quiet day. We didn't do enough offensively. So he knows. He knows it was quiet. And he also was quoted as saying that we're 27 and 22, so it doesn't really matter. That's a great topic for you guys to do on your next segment when he was asked if we have overachieved or underachieved. He says it doesn't matter. He doesn't think anything that you said or anything that any Cub fan matters.
It's clear. It's clear that the people who watch the game every single day and understand like what's happening. And Joe, I'm not going to argue with you. You're not wrong. Other teams do platoon players. The Cubs are not platooning players. That is not what is happening. They are reacting. They're reacting. They do not have a plan.
They don't have enough good players. Michael, I feel like you get mad about
they have the players. I think this team is actually really fucking good.
They don't. That's where I think that you miss it. You're like they could be doing this, they could be doing that. They can't. They don't have enough players. They had Miles Mastroboni and they had to get rid of him. He's terrible. Nick Madrigal.
I 100% disagree. I think they have the players on this team. They're using them wrong.
Yeah, no, what players, Michael? I had an argument with Sarah. There's the same argument I had with Sarah, but she was mad, like really angry that they chose to keep Nick Madrigal and send down Miles Mastroboni. And I'm like, dude, the right answer
should be. That's a stupid fucking choice.
No, the real choice is to send them both the fuck down and to never see them again because
hold up.
No,
Danny,
I've listened to you. You listen to me.
I want to agree with you.
Our team is not good enough. We don't have good enough players. That's why they gotta do this thing.
Our team, the team we love, is good enough. The team that Jed Hoyer thinks he has is not. Jed Hoyer doesn't know what the fuck he has. And Danny, you are 100% correct. Send them both down. Fucking put Wisdom on the train at the exact same time. I'm with you.
I don't know about that.
but I'm with you.
I've got the lineup. Can we go over the lineup from Tuesday?
Yeah,
here's Tuesday night's lineup, the lineup that Cotton's upset with. And tell me who should.
No, it's Wednesday.
Or Wednesday.
Wednesday night's lineup.
You're right. Wednesday night against Max Fried or Fried.
Fried.
We got
looks like Fried.
Sounds
like Fried.
I know. I've become a real old man with players' names lately. Where I'm just pronouncing them the way I think they should be pronounced. My dad did that with Jeff. Remember Jeff Hornacek in the NBA in the 90s? He would always call him Jeff Hornacek. I'm like, it's Hornacek. And he's like, I know a Polish last name when I see one.
I mean,
I refuse to say.
I think we all do this.
I refuse to say DeJong the proper way.
Leading off and playing second base, Nico Horner. We agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
And he's coming
I
back.
don't agree with that. Nico Horner should not be leading off.
Who would you like to lead off, Cotton?
Ian fucking Happ. If you're going to put him on the field,
he leads off. I'm sorry.
I don't give a fuck. Ian Happ is your leadoff hitter, and if he's not your leadoff hitter, then Ian Happ sits on the fucking bench.
So he either leads off or doesn't play at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so who's batting second?
Well, let's just go over what really happens.
What do we have?
Say ya.
No, I'm sorry. Cotton,
All right.
Joe.
I want to know the lineup. Yeah.
So yeah, here's the rest of the lineup. Nico leading off. Suzuki right field second. Bellinger in center, Bent third. Morel DHing.
I'm good with those.
Wisdom, who kills lefties, hitting fifth. Started at first base. Swanson, shortstop, just coming off the IL.
I'm sorry. Hold on. How did Wisdom do?
That game he was 0 for 3, but the whole team was terrible because it's Max Fried. That was just my point. Like,
okay.
He's really good
okay, but he played first base, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he batted fifth.
Yes, and he's got
wait. Which part of that sounds like the best opportunity? I just told you I'm okay with Patrick Wisdom going to Iowa.
Why would you have a guy with 859 OPS going to Iowa?
Yeah, for who? Canario? Who you bringing up?
He was struggling offensively, and you want to get rid of a good
because
hitter.
he's fucking sitting on the bench. Then put him at DH.
Because he plays against lefties. That's the point I'm trying to make here. So you'd rather Michael Busch start against Max Fried?
No, I would prefer Cody Bellinger at first base and PCA not being in Iowa, being in fucking center field. Look, you can look at one game and you can pick apart the things I say based on one game. I'm not looking at one game. I'm looking at everything. There is a fucking pattern here, and the Cubs are telling their players they aren't good enough to play this game.
Well, they aren't.
And so they have to change everything all the time.
They do.
No, they don't. We don't know what they could do if they actually just gave these guys fucking roles and told them to play the game. We have no idea what that might look like because it hasn't happened.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Remember
in the chat real quick. David Elliott is making fun of me saying Joe literally said Wisdom kills lefties. Wisdom on the year is hitting .320 against left-handed hitters with an OPS over 1,000. So when I said he kills lefties, that is statistically accurate. It's
okay. And that's fine, Joe. If you want to put one extra different player in, if you want to put Patrick Wisdom in as a DH,
yeah, he was agreeing.
Hot, David Elliott, you're a good man. I apologize.
Yeah, but if you want to put DH Patrick Wisdom in there, I'm okay with that. There are ways to work it.
Different lineup you would have wanted, because I can understand being like,
oh no, I mean, if you want, I will tell you exactly what fucking lineup I want almost every single day.
This isn't 1930.
No, trust me, Joe, I get it. You're not a Patreon supporter. You're not part of the Discord. You don't know what I'm talking about all the time.
Nobody knows what you're talking about. Like, literally everybody.
I have literally.
Yeah, he is on the Patreon. First of all.
Oh, then maybe you should come in and talk with us sometime. I would enjoy that. I would enjoy having an opportunity to have a real conversation with you rather than like this.
Well, mean rather than you screaming at everybody and we're all supposed to go, yes.
I'm curious.
No, because I don't have time to fucking sit here and pick apart everything that he says and look up the numbers and make sure that I have what's
telling
right.
you the lineup and the splits versus the lefties.
For the record, Pete Crow Armstrong got like a 514 OPS against lefties career. So.
Well, yeah, no, PCA is the wrong choice there too. I mean, it's the same idea as like when Elmore. Everybody's like, if Elmore just played every day, he'd be an MVP. And then you know what? They did it, and you know what happened? He fucking sucked. He sucked my balls, and he spit them out, and then he ate them again after he vomited.
And they held on to him too long. Yeah. After they found that out. But you have to fucking find it out, Danny. You can't fucking keep doing this shit.
You're telling me
you gotta find out who plays and who doesn't.
So we don't know.
And I personally think that PCA plays.
Well, that you're personally thinking something in the actuality of the situation.
See, and this is why this forum is a terrible spot for this, because I literally go through the numbers. I figure these things out, and I go through lineups, Joe. I go through lineups and I put them on Discord, and I talk about how you could rotate through guys to keep guys refreshed and healthy, and other guys not just sitting on the bench for 2 weeks and then get called out for one at bat. There are ways to do this. There are ways to do this.
But yeah.
I can say one thing for sure, that the Cubs have a really good chance here in the next couple weeks to win a few games, because every game that I have been to this year here in Seattle, the team that I was rooting for won. And I'm going to be in Chicago at 5 Cubs games. So that is 5 games we're going to win.
Oh yeah. When you coming?
That's just math.
Wait, I do just have one real quick question. Look, I get the arguments and I understand where you guys are coming from, and we're going back and forth. So I do have one question.
Yes.
Do you believe, and I want everyone to answer this, do you believe Jed Hoyer is making all the right decisions?
Well, I just said we have to go.
Stop. Yes or no?
No,
I am talking about whether or not the fucking management of the team is making the right decisions. Are they making the right decisions? You are agreeing with everything they're doing.
Michael, I just said in the chat, in the private chat, that we have to take a break, and then you answered a question. Then you asked.
I'm not looking at the fucking private chat.
Well, that's part of the show, that we have to take a little break right now, instead of getting into is Jed Hoyer a good general manager?
No, let's just here's what it is though. I'm making an argument. And I feel as if all of you guys are saying Jed Hoyer is the smartest person in the world, and we should not.
Nobody said that.
Michael Cotton,
stop.
Real right now.
No, you didn't, and that's why I stopped and I gave you an opportunity.
Yeah, but I'm trying to take the opportunity.
Have I ever? Hold on, you know me. Have I ever in my entire life?
Okay, then instead of just fucking saying, "Oh, Michael, you're wrong. Jed's right." How about we work on the fucking problem and we talk about how you might change things rather than just being like, "Oh, Cotton, you're wrong. You're an idiot. You have no idea what you're talking about." Because that sounds like Jed Hoyer is correct.
Shit. No. Well, let's do this.
Is Jed Hoyer correct? After the break, come back. Is Jed Hoyer correct?
I need a nap. All right, let's do. Well, do we have we do have a Who's That Cub?
We do.
All right. Okay.
If I can find the brand. Okay.
We do have to take a break. I've got to take a shower after that conversation. I do.
All right, here we go. Who's that Cubby?
Who is he? We're going to take a quick break. We're going to, this is for Patreon. If you're not a Patreon supporter, that's how we keep the lights on here. Patreon.com/SunRanto. We'll be right back. And guess who that Cubby is in the comments?
All over Chicagoland, there are thirsty, frazzled, overworked Cubs podcasters who are struggling to survive one more baseball season in the dog-eat-dog world of unpaid content creation. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can make a difference. Become a super ranter at patreon.com/sunranto, where your support ensures that poor, sad, pathetic, ugly, loser Cubs podcasters can pay for tickets and beer, and in turn line the pockets of the baseball oligarch Ricketts family. Just $1 a month can buy a scorecard. $5 a month can pay for guitar strings to write a Cubs song. And $10 a month almost buys 1 beer at Wrigley Field. Cubs content creators are the lowest pieces of pond scum garbage that slither over the face of this planet. But super ranters help them get drunk and screw off at baseball games. What do you get out of it? The Sun Ranto Show delivered to your podcatcher without stupid advertisements like the one you're seeing and hearing right now. Plus, at other Super Ranter levels, you can get Cubs music, access to private Sun Ranto pages, the Ranter calendar, and special thanks and Ranter recognition in our live broadcasts. Plus, eligibility for monthly prizes. What does Sun Ranto get out of it? Your money. For tickets and beer. Go to patreon.com/sunranto. That's patreon.com/sunranto. And become a super ranter today. If you like the Cubs a bunch, buy your t-shirts from In the Clutch. We've got all the best styles for you. Dansby, Saya, Morel too. Clark Fly in his double U. Cody Bellinger smoking dupes. Vintage shirts from days of old. Patrick Wisdom and Nico. You'll look sharp wearing your stro. 10% off with the code SONRANTO. SONRANTO. InTheClutch.com is your store for the most fun baseball shirts on the planet. Don't forget to use promo code SUNRANTO to knock a couple bucks off your purchase. Stack or die, we need more cups. Get it all at In the Clutch. Cause if you like the Cubs a bunch, buy t-shirts from In the Clutch. Get it all at In the Clutch. Get it all at In the Clutch.
Do you ever find yourself longing for long walks and talks about Ketrometrics? How about a coffee over run differential? Maybe a candlelit dinner dissecting what exactly is the curious case of Miles Mastrobuoni? If you have, I have just the place for you, the Cubs PS Plus podcast. Come join us. Cubs PS Plus, a Northside numbers game, can be found wherever it is you get your podcasts, and on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Cubs PS Plus, a spin on the baseball metric OPS Plus. Are you ready? I'm ready. Here we go.
All right, who's that Cubby? We got any correct answers out there?
I don't think
Lou
we
Piniella.
do. A lot of people think Lou Piniella.
Nah, Lou is bigger than this guy.
Oh,
Andy Wells says Big Z.
everything's moved around, Danny. I can't.
Don Zimmer.
No.
Oh yeah, I wrecked your thing, didn't I?
I can't find it. Is it in here?
Oh, sorry.
It's Joe Madden.
Yeah.
And at some point, I'm going to find the picture and show it to you. But no, it's
Alfonso
gone.
Soriano. Look at that.
That's exactly what I saw, and I'm like, oh my god, that's not the right thing. No, it was. Sorry, the proper picture is not there.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was a very tough one because yes, it was Joe Madden. I just thought maybe people would get it because how many managers? I mean, he's clearly just a coach or a manager walking out on the field.
So I do want to mention real quick that this show is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. If you would like to become one, patreon.com/sunranto. Also, In the Clutch shirts, 10% off with code sunranto, and Matt Kammerer's permanent paintings, which there's and I'm going to launch it tomorrow, but the auction for RanterFest is going to include the original RanterFest poster. In the auction, we've got some great prizes. Bernie Barron donated a Mark Pryor signed and framed jersey that's going into the auction as well.
Nice.
There's also a bat signed by Mike Tauchman and Patrick Wisdom, who's Michael Cott's favorite player. What do you think of a Tauchman Wisdom platoon at DH, Michael? Let's get your thoughts on that. I'm kidding. No, I was kidding.
I'm honestly not against it. This is the thing. It's like when we get into these things, then all of a sudden it's easy to make arguments and pick things apart and put people into corners when it's not exactly what they're talking about, which is why when I do the Cubs spot, I actually spent a lot of time to write it out so I had a generally coherent thought process before I got into an argument with everybody else.
David Elliott says, I need a cigarette. And Joey says, I got a cigar ready. So apparently you turning purple on the show, it makes everybody horny somehow.
And there he is.
There's Joe Madden.
I finally got it up properly. That's Joe Madden in the World Series.
But I do want to talk because we haven't talked we lost 3 or 4 to Pittsburgh. And that's, that's pretty harsh. I know they're a better team than they were. We had to face Paul Skeens. That was tough. He mowed us down, didn't give up any hits against us. It was pretty incredible, like watching him up close. I was in the 5th row for that one. I mean, but to lose 3 or 4 to the Pirates at home, then lose 2 to 3 to the Braves, that's obviously a failed homestand at this point. And so I do want to address your thought process of did Jed Hoyer do a good enough job. And I think we should start with IFG. What do you think of the team that we're even throwing out there these days, and the depth and the whole Jed Hoyer part of this thing?
I'll say the same thing that I've been saying for the last 2 years, is that this team is surgically designed to be extremely mediocre.
It's like a 500 wild card. Maybe we get in and do something.
That's like the design is if everything goes perfect, you're going to sneak right into the wild card, or perhaps even better, just barely not make it, so that you could say you were almost there and we're just one piece away from the playoffs, and just keep that going for the next 10 years or so.
Where are you at it with it, Joe, with Jed? We've seen him a few years now.
I mean, Lawrence Holmes on The Score, talking with Dan Bernstein, had an interesting thing where he said that you saw that Jed seems to be talking about this year's team as if the last few years they've made the postseason. And I've kind of noticed that too. It definitely feels like
entitlement is what he said.
Yeah. And it kind of goes to IFG's point where it's like, in his mind, he's succeeding because they're doing what they're designed to do. And think about it. If you were really gung-ho about making the postseason, you don't roll out basically the same offense of last year. And it's funny how people are kind of buying into, like, let Jed cook and all that kind of stuff, because some of the comments to Lawrence Holmes' video I saw on Twitter, they were like, oh, well, this team's really built to compete from 2024 to 2026. I'm like, we were told this wasn't a rebuild. First of all, we were lied to, right? Then we were told it wasn't going to be a rebuild as long as the last one. We're now going to pass it. Like, think about it. The last rebuild was 2012, 2013, 2014. 2015, they were in the postseason, so that's not a rebuilding year. So it's 3 years. This one is 2021, 2022, 2023. So if they don't make the playoffs this year, it's definitely longer. It's at least as long. It could definitely be longer. And that's with extra postseason spots, which I know you love so much, Danny. Yeah, Manfred ball, right? So
at least you're using the correct terminology, and you said postseason, because the playoffs no longer exist. There is a postseason tournament in which half the teams get to go, because this is the Little League now.
Yeah, and Will says Jed is on the clock, and
doesn't feel like it, because it feels like he's doing what he's supposed to do.
He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do, which is convince the fans to keep spending money without spending money. Like our biggest, our whole thing was the offense wasn't good enough last year. So our biggest offensive acquisition was Cody Bellinger, a player we already had. Yeah,
Cody replaced Cody with Cody. And then,
Christopher and I don't know if you guys remember, but when I got upset about that and I said that the Cubs didn't spend money, our friends Eric Wheelo and Billy DeVore laughed in my face, and they told me that I was wrong because the Cubs happen to have a higher payroll than either one of their teams.
We actually agreed with you, though, that night, if you recall. That,
yes.
Hey, I'm just saying, I say things sometimes that I get made fun of, and people absolutely tear me apart for. And then later on, it's like, maybe Cotton's not so wrong on this.
Well, Billy and Eric are fans of two franchises that you could get into a game if you get 10 gallons of gas at the gas station, where we pay the second highest ticket prices in baseball.
Yeah.
You know and I think to IFG's point of just, making a team good enough to sell the tickets to get in there. I mean, we were in there last night. I mean, not too many teams on a Wednesday night are drawing like that, even though the weather was good. Today, it is a 1:20 start on a Thursday. School is kind of getting out now, but it was still
35,000 today.
Yeah, it was 35,000 people. So people are kind of buying into this thing, and they like our players. And, kind of technically, if you look at it, you're like, oh, they should win the division. They should be okay. But it's like they're not firing on the cylinders. The offense has been offensively terrible. And now the bullpen is seemingly good. Like all of a sudden, like Luke Little had a couple good outings, and you'll see some positive things developing. You pick up Tyson Miller. That seems like it might be a positive thing. Maybe Kyle could have done. Maybe Kyle will be good taking some of those innings out of the bullpen, and then you have other. I mean,
right? Like every team is
happening at the same.
Every team is going to have ups and downs, and a team that is designed to be barely a wild card team is going to have slightly more downs than ups. The unfortunate thing is, like, they're designed to be a wild card team if everything goes right, and we have had 16 players on the injured list, and it's not June yet.
And just because they're back doesn't mean they're
amazing in that time frame. And a lot of that is because the front office was forced to play players that they did not want to play. They did not want to bring PCA up. They did not want to do a lot of the stuff that they had to do, but they're just trying to fucking react and put the guys on the field. And then as soon as we start to get to a point where people are healthy and they could really start to make a run, they just ignore everything that they've learned. They ignore it.
I don't know. What I do know is, Cubs fans love their team. Good or bad, win or lose, Cubs fans love their team. A day at Wrigley Field is one of the best days you're going to have. Russell,
a squeak toy, right?
I wish he was doing that during Cotton's rant.
Right? Why do you have to do this when I'm talking? Anyway, but a day out at Wrigley Field is one of the best times you can have. Like, where would you rather be than Wrigley Field on a summer afternoon? And I don't think that it should be on Cubs fans to stop supporting the team that they love and stop doing the things that they enjoy in order to blackmail Jed Hoyer into spending money on baseball players. I think the team that makes enough money that profit sharing pays for the Pittsburgh Pirates' entire payroll deserves that effort, regardless of whether we refuse to show up. I feel like we just deserve it anyway. And we're not going to get it because the people who do the numbers things want the numbers to go burr as much as possible, and they don't care what we want.
Is Jed the Crane Kenny of GMs? Like, in the way that he's just going to do just enough to keep the fans just happy enough?
That's what he's been told to do. I think that's what the MO is. It is make as much money for the money people as you possibly can, and that means reducing your expenditure as much as possible. And like any business, the greatest outgoing expense is personnel.
That part of it, though, I mean, it's a good question, Danny, and IFG, I definitely think you've made your case for that. It's hard to believe, though. It's like you'd think he'd eventually want to be like, no, I want to win one. I want to step out of Theo's shadow and win one out as my own guy. Like, I want to be the man. Like, I want to hold up the trophy first when we celebrate in late October, early November. You'd think that would arise in him somehow. So that's why I don't know. I don't know if it does feel like the way these last few teams have been built, if you look at the offseason free agent spending, there was immediate backlash after 2021. Because look, the pandemic year was the pandemic year, and they didn't do anything that following offseason, even though they could have. Remember, there was the biblical losses thing. If they had done nothing, they would have been $40 million under the luxury tax. But they decided to go beyond that. They traded Darvish. They let Schwarber walk. They added nothing to the team.
Yep.
One second.
Hold on. They went through season ticket holders so quickly that they were like, do something. All right,
I'll burned the list
and take Arrieta. Then the next offseason, it's like, all right, you missed on the big names. You didn't go after Corey Seager. You didn't go after Freddie Freeman. Who was out there? Saya and then Stroman. But again, these are short-term deals. Now we've got Swanson for 7 years. And to the Cubs fans who think that our real competitive window is still yet to come, how much older is he going to be? He's never been the most potent offensive bat anyway. Is he going to be a glove-only guy by the time PCA's in his prime?
Not as well as Javi.
I'm sorry, Joe. I have been told on extreme confidence that he was the best out of the four available, and the Cubs got him for the absolute cheapest. And no matter what he ever does from this point on, because he had a good year last year, he will always be good.
Where are
people
those?
Said that in July, and then Trey Turner became Trey Turner again the second half of the season. People forget.
Hey, Joe, I'm just reporting.
I know.
What the people are saying.
But Trey Turner, I think I would have rather had Trey Turner than Dansby. I mean, even at the time and today, Correa, I was never that sold on, and that was a weird situation. Who was the other one?
Went to Bogarts.
Xander Bogarts, yeah. I don't know. I feel like it goes along with my tinfoil hat theory. Dansby Swanson was signed for his hair. He's gonna sell more women's cut jerseys than any of the other four. So that's why
except for he's so boring.
Mallory
Nobody cares.
Well, and Mallory plays for the Red Stars, right? And the Red Stars are owned by.
Not that you would know that. Is she even in the commercial where the Red Stars go to Wrigley?
She's still hurt. She's hurt.
I think she's still hurt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
then
had her whole knee rebuilt.
Yeah, so
I thought she was back playing this year because Laura Ricketts actually signed her to the biggest contract in like the history of the NWSL. I mean, that would have nothing to do with the fact that her brother runs the Chicago Cubs. I just assumed if she had done that, then Mallory was probably playing for the team by now.
Obvious Shirt's got a new Mallory shirt going on. Mallory is good at soccer, or my wife is better. I forget what it said.
Yeah. So, I mean, what we're looking at here is a PR machine.
Yeah. Well,
we're not looking at baseball players. We're not looking at an actual functional organization.
Sure. So as the function of the organization goes, and thinking about it in terms of the recent roster moves, like, Bush getting a long leash, PCA going down and with Mastroboni, Madrigal staying, like, what could they do right now? No, seriously, like with the
I think I just ranted about that like last segment.
Yeah, but what? I mean, besides playing, guys.
Besides playing the best players on your team and actually putting together lineups that make sense.
I guess I'm
instead
wondering,
of putting Madrigal out there.
I guess I'm wondering. Well, I mean, Madrigal's on the team. Who?
And he shouldn't be.
Right. Agree.
I mean,
so who should be here?
What? In a perfect universe, you find, David Tennant, you hop in the TARDIS, you go back in time, and you get Juan Soto somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but
you know what? I'm not
David Bodie.
That's a great argument. I'm glad that you brought up Dr. fucking Who for an argument about baseball, because what I'm actually talking about is I love this team. I actually really like this team.
You like how it's put together.
When they got going in April and I started to see early on what this team was made of and how they were working things, I got excited. I really did. I thought
they won the most games in April that the Cubs have ever won in April.
Yeah. Do you want to know why?
Granted,
because they played the right fucking players and they didn't change it every fucking 4 minutes. And then as soon as Bellinger got hurt, Ian Happ, who has never been a number 3 hitter in his entire career, and he never will be a number 3 hitter. As soon as Bellinger got hurt, Ian Happ became a number 3 hitter. Why is that? It doesn't make sense. He's not a number 3 hitter. You fucking play the game with the players you have and you put them in the best position to succeed. And you don't move them around willy-nilly because you think, oh, well, if Bellinger is gone, then Ian Happ is the only guy. You're telling me on the entire rest of this roster, there was no one else that could play and bat in the third position except for Ian Happ. But what we got was Ian Happ batting in that third position.
One game.
The entire time for like 2-3 weeks. And it was terrible.
I'm going to start an Ian Happ batting third jar.
Well, you know what? You'll make $1 million fucking dollars if he keeps batting third, because Ian Happ's a terrible.
About Ian Happ batting third, because it's been a lot.
Yeah, you know why? Because they keep fucking putting him at third, and everybody keeps telling me that I'm wrong.
Well,
I'm
I
the
love her.
only fucking person in the
tell
world that
you.
doesn't think he should bat third.
Nobody says that you're wrong that Ian Happ should have bat third. What we say you're wrong about is that you have no answer for who else should bat third. When
Oh no, I have 8 million answers. Fucking Christopher Morel should bat third.
well then
Easy. I just fixed it. Christopher Morel.
Okay, so then who?
Do you feel better? Christopher Morel bats third when Bellinger doesn't.
So you have two players that are good in your view. You have Bellinger, you got Morel.
No, there are other options. What I'm saying is,
and there's no.
What I'm saying is that Jed Hoyer moved a.
You have Dansby Swanson injured. You have Nico Horner injured. You have Seiya Suzuki injured. None of
that makes Ian Happ a third hitter.
No, agreed. But
you can't do something to Cody Bellinger that makes Ian Happ a third hitter.
You're wrong because they're down 4 players that could be your third hitter. You're down 4 of them. So somebody has to come up and do it.
By the way,
Christopher Morel never went down. Never. Not one time did Christopher Morel go down.
He was batting fourth. Fourth.
Bellinger was hitting 3 at that stage.
Yeah, dude.
When Bellinger was gone, Christopher Morel still batted fourth.
And Happ hitting third last year was because he got on base in front of Bellinger, and Bellinger hit 4. Bellinger said last year in the beginning of the year, I feel most comfortable hitting 4th. So that's why he hit 4th the whole year. They were trying to get him to rebound from his.
I'm not talking about Bellinger.
3 years in a row before. No, but you can't talk about.
I'm talking about Ian fucking Happ is not a 3 hitter.
Yeah, but
Ian Happ, Cody Bellinger, Nico Horner. It doesn't matter. Look, the 2023 Chicago Cubs in the month of May.
And if Bellinger doesn't want to bat third, then put Morel.
Finish.
Shush.
Yeah.
The 2023 Chicago.
Why should I? Nobody's fucking listening to me.
Dude,
everybody
have
just
done
tells
nothing
me
but
I'm
listen
wrong.
to you for the last hour.
Dude, you screamed for like 20 minutes straight.
The 2023 Chicago Cubs in the month of May had a team OPS of 696. The 2024 Chicago Cubs in the month of May, that is total, that is including Cody Bellinger and Christopher Morel and Ian Happ and all of them, is 648. Like, they're just not hitting as well as a team as they were last year.
Nobody is.
Yeah, all the numbers are down.
Every single team. 100% of the teams are hitting worse.
Right.
So keep bringing it. Keep bringing it.
I'm just saying that, yes.
I don't have a point.
Role was very exciting.
I'll just sit over here without my point.
Real. As a team.
Who won more games, 2023 or 2024?
Well, I mean, 2024 is not over, so we can't say.
No, I'm talking about in this. You're right. You're right. 2024 Cubs are done at 27 wins or whatever they got. The season's over.
I don't get your overall point, but
my point is, if the fucking team in 2023 hitting 50 points higher still did worse overall, then the 2024 team is probably doing it a little bit better, especially when the entire league is batting worse.
2023 team scored more runs than the 2016 team. So, like, these things do not live in a vacuum.
Okay, good. Danny, I didn't bring up 2023. IFG did. I am just responding to what she's talking about. And so, if you want to bring your point in, if 2016 they did not score as many runs as 2023 is, then that's fine. But then don't compare 2023 to 2024.
Well,
we're not.
The difference is that the players that are on the 2023 team are on the 2024 team, and the players on the 2016 are not.
Yeah,
and that's why it's relevant.
And where they bat in the order matters somewhat, but I don't think that that's what's making or breaking this team right now.
It's the message that you're giving these people. That's the reason
why I said OPS, the on-base plus slugging, and not something like RBIs, which is a team stat where, what order you're hitting matters, right? Just as individual players collectively as a team, they are not putting bat on ball and getting on base. They're just not.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter. Like Ian Happ striking
and a lot
out
of the reason is because their front office tells them they're not good
Well,
enough.
we can't. We got to stop talking over each other. You can't talk when somebody else is talking. Michael, seriously, if you keep interrupting IFG, like while she's talking,
I'm
you
doing
keep talking during it.
Okay.
No, you do. You do, and I can't
I know,
understand
and
anything
I'm
anybody
sorry,
says.
IFG. I'm okay.
But
I'm sorry,
because
I'll
I
do
want to
better.
hear what she's saying,
Okay,
and I can't when
I'll
you
do better.
come in. So
Okay.
please, could you finish?
No,
your
I
thought?
I don't claim to be a great numbers person, but I'm thinking logically. In order to win games, you have to hit the baseball, you have to get on base, right? Like, and it doesn't necessarily matter if Ian Happ strikes out at third or fifth or ninth. It's still a strikeout, right? Like, as far as calculating OPS or something like that, like just proving that the hitters are doing the hitting. If nobody is hitting, then there are no hits to string together. Right? The Cubs as a team have a batting average lower than the Mendoza line for this month. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, what was your favorite of the 8 hits we got in this series? Because that's really all we got. It's like it doesn't matter what order that happens in.
No.
When there's just like one sporadic hit here or there, maybe you scratch out one, and that's where we ended up.
Right, but if your hopes and prayers for winning a game rely on Miles Mastrobuoni hit a home run, like, we're in rough shape. It's not pretty. Like, this team is designed to be pretty much a 500 team. Like, maybe if the whole rest of the NL Central sucks really bad, we could be in first place if everything goes perfectly, but everything is not going perfectly. Well, we have a lot of injured people. We have a really fucked up pitching situation, and we need our hitters to make up for the pitching situation, and that's not happening.
Yeah. Well, do you know what did happen? Joe Kilgallon was one of the first people to pee in that trough, and you sent me this video.
I didn't say one of the first. We were talking about the troughs earlier, and I said I shot a commercial at one of the troughs.
Okay. So we have the commercial. He said you texted it to me, and I got it here. So I thought people would have fun taking a look at this. And I do remember this playing, so I'm going to put it on real quick. 2018. Check this out.
It's 2018 and things are heating up, and guess what? Everybody's in. This fan's in. This fan's in. This fan's fan is in. Yeah, the Ivy's in. You know Harry's in. In. Right, brother? We're in the bathroom, too. Got it. Let me hear it, everybody. Okay, I'll get down. Can you say in? That's Mr. In. You got the tickets? He doesn't have pockets.
Somebody please get Clark some pants.
One line, but nailed it. One take Kilgallon, they called me on set that day.
Yeah. Did you get typecast because you always got your dick in your hand?
Pretty much. That's why I showed up to the audition.
Yeah.
And it was the correct line, at least.
Yeah, I was like,
we're pissed. Like, quit talking
to me at the trough. Ike, come on, man.
So I do want to bring up that we at the end of our second segment we usually do a little thing where we kind of highlight something that's something good that somebody's doing out there in Rancherland. And our friend David Lieb, he's doing a mental health suicide prevention called Out of the Darkness on June 22nd in Boston. And he needs $44 to hit the 1,500 mark and get this limited edition cinch sack, apparently. I don't know. That sounds a little dirty. But he's trying to get $544 to get a baseball shirt. Anyway, this is all to raise money, and I'm going to drop a link in the chat really quick. It's called theovernight.org. David Lieb is the ranter that's participating in it, and I just wanted to point that out as well. We're going to take a quick break. We're just going to play one commercial this time. Joe, I know you've been here this whole time. We've been screaming in your ear. You've got children, you've got a wife. She's probably what's going on in there?
I apologize, Joe, for you have to listen to me be so frustrated.
Dude, I've been there a million times over, my man. Never apologize for passion.
Yeah. Every time Joe
apologize for talking over IFG though.
Every time Joe quits Twitter, it's usually because it was prefaced with a similar kind of rant.
Yeah, I've quit Twitter several times over the years. And I tell people, And it's usually about shit like this. It's usually Cubs related. I get mad because someone won't agree with me on one dumb little talking point, and that's that. I know how to burn a house down too, my friend.
Good times.
Well, thanks for having me on, everybody. I really appreciate every time I get to come on, and I hope I see everyone in the chat. Thank you. I hope I get to see you and meet you next week at RanterFest.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm finally going to meet you, IFG girl. I'm very looking
Yay!
forward to that.
I'm very excited.
And Joe, I really do hope you join into the discussion in the Discord. That'd be great.
Once I figure out
If
Discord,
you have time.
which I think I can figure out, it's like click a link. I will join in if I get a chance.
Okay.
It's like
and
Facebook
obviously,
with
if you have time, it is a large waste of time.
It's like Facebook, but without getting banned. You can't get banned. Well, I could ban you, but
It's
I
like
gotta do that.
Facebook if you don't ever have to talk to your relatives.
Exactly.
I'm in.
Like old message boards
All
if you're
in.
a millennial nerd.
Yeah,
This
that's true.
stands in.
Yeah, it's old school. So all right, we're gonna play just a quick commercial for sunrantos.com/stuff. That's our Amazon search bar. If you shop at Amazon, and let's face it, who doesn't? Then you can just click on our links and buy shit, and then you can win a monthly prize. So Joe, thanks for coming on. We'll see you next Friday, if not sooner. And
Thank you.
anything to plug before that?
Just go. A lot of you are already on YouTube, as I could see in the comments. So just type my name into YouTube. I got tons of stand-up comedy there for you to check out.
Yeah, and the new
Subscribe.
Hours special, that's not too long ago you put that out, right?
Yes,
Is it-
the
Good Grief?
unedited version is on my website, joekilgallon.com, which links you to Punch Up, which is a new platform for comedians. But the edited version that's like 30 minutes long, that's on YouTube. But the one that's an hour long is on Punch Up. But you can just type joekilgallon.com for all your comedy needs.
Sweet.
Yeah, go for the full hour. I watched that on Punch Up. It was great.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you. I really
was.
appreciate that. You guys are the best. All right.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye, see you next time.
We'll be right back. We're going to preview the Cardinals. All right, here we go.
Hey, Cubs fans, at Amazon.com, do you buy lots of stuff? Why not support the Sun Ranto Show by shopping through sunranto.com/stuff? All you gotta do is fill your cart at Amazon with lots of stuff. Then before you check out with all of that wonderful stuff, head on over to sunranto.com/stuff and click any of our Amazon links before you buy your stuff. Check out like you normally would with all that beautiful stuff. And the Sun Ranto Show will get a small kickback because of the stuff you bought. And you'll be helping the Sun Ranto Show buy all the stuff we need to stay on the air talking about the Cubs and other stuff. Plus you could win a monthly prize if some of your is chosen for Amazon stuff of the month. And if you win, we'll send you more stuff. Sunranto.com/stuff. That address again is sunranto.com/stuff.
Hello, the Son Santos Show, the Chicago Cubs, 69 Best Postcard. Take care.
Thank you, Aramis.
Yeah, thank you,
The
Aramis.
greatest third baseman to ever play for the Chicago Cubs that wasn't named Ron Santo.
Yeah. I would say that's true.
Accurate assessment.
Yeah, I was like, who else? I mean, Chris Bryant, no.
Nope.
Although he did win the World Series. I mean, that kind of puts you up there.
But
Jeremiah Wheeler says Ron Say, maybe.
I love the Penguin, the toy cannon, Ron Say. You know, I feel like maybe Jed, if Jed was as old as us, I feel like he's not as old as us. Maybe he is. Maybe he saw Ron Say one time and he's like, that's Nick Madrigal. I'm just waiting for Nick Madrigal to become Ron Say. And that's what he's been waiting for this whole time. I don't think Ron Say was all that good as a Cub. Anyway.
Jed Hoyer, for the record, December 7th, 1973. That would make
he's older. So then he definitely did see Ron Say. And I really doubt he was a Cubs fan, but if he was, maybe he thinks that the diminutive one that should play second base is Ranto.
He's from Plymouth, New Hampshire, so he's probably a Red Sox fan.
That's the issue. Well, I mean, Ranto.
I don't even know if he's a baseball fan, to tell you the truth. He really likes math.
Ranto had over 300 home runs. That's incredible.
Most of them with the Dodgers, and then the Cubs got him. And he was exciting to watch as a Cub. And it was even more exciting because he was like that guy from King of the Hill. Remember that cartoon? There was the guy's father didn't have knees. I think that was Ranto. He had no knees. That's why he was so short and he walked and ran that way.
Yeah, he did have a weird kind of shaped body for a baseball player. You don't see that. He did look kind of like Nick Madrigal. So I do want to once again try to sell you the RanterFest shirt. We're only making we're not making that many of them, so you can either get it from intheclutch.com and look up RanterFest. You'll find it there. You can get it shipped to your house, or if you're coming to RanterFest, you can buy it at sunranter.com/RanterFest, and you can order it to RanterFest and you pick it up there and save quite a bit of money. So let's talk about the Cardinals. We're facing the Cardinals. Dennis is moving, by the way. Dennis is moving to Nashville, Tennessee, our Cardinals correspondent. So we need a new one.
Do we?
Do we?
Yeah, I don't know necessarily we need a Cardinals correspondent ever.
Well, they're in third place. They're 23 and 26. They're one under at home, so pretty much the same on home and road. They were 9 and under. They were 9 under, but then they went 8 and 2 while we went 3 and 7, and now they're just right behind us. So they were in the basement. We were all laughing at them, and that is a dangerous thing to do.
I mean, it's kind of hard not to laugh at them right now.
Now, are you saying that, IFG, because they currently take the field wearing a T-shirt that references a British toilet?
I mean, it's like they're asking to be bullied. The loo? Now, I am millennial enough to know that this is a reference to a musical artist who hasn't been relevant in 2 decades, which is really just feeding into that whole, welcome to Missouri, set your clock back 20 years.
It's Nelly, right? Is it Nelly?
It is Nelly, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I picked up.
Nelly is very current, and I only found this out because my son, part of the marching band, was hoping that his team would win the football Big 12 and go to the Big 12 championship. And then Nelly would have been performing the halftime show. And my first thought was, Nelly is still a thing? And when I looked him up, apparently Nelly is collaborating with country artists.
Yeah, Nelly's still pretty big, I think.
Yeah, in country music. So while we, as Gen Xers or whatever from the 90s, we remember him as a rap hip hop guy, he's a country guy now. He still does rap hip hop and everything. He just brings in some country guy to sing the chorus.
Yeah, no, I knew that was happening because I work in radio and we have a lot of country stations. So I do see Nelly's name from time to time. It's like this whole genre of music, which is like country rap kind of thing. It's a whole thing. But yeah, Nelly actually in the song Fuck the Cardinals that I sing regularly with the Bleacher Bump Band, I sing Yachty don't like it, and sometimes I also sing Nelly don't like it, fuck the Cardinals, and I'm like Tony La Russa don't like it. But we could just, and I will end this show with fuck the Cardinals. But one thing is that's nice to see that we can laugh at Paul Goldschmidt's 72 OPS plus. When I saw that, I was like, ooh, that's not very good. I'll put up the numbers here. Everybody can take a look. Wilson Contreras broke his arm. That's kind of sad, but he was off to a great start. He was off to a really good start. He had a 172 OPS plus. He had 6 home runs in 107 at bats. So he was going to hit like 25, 30 homers.
Is anybody going to warm Brandon Crawford's corpse at any point? Minus 18 OPS? Holy cow.
Yeah, he's batting 97. Like, not 197, not 97. Negative 18 OPS plus. Literally, yeah, like you say, literally Weekend at Bernie's Bernie would be better than Brandon Crawford. Like, this is where you could say, when Brandon Crawford was playing, you'd be like, I could just go do it. And it would be just as fine. I don't know who Victor Scott II is on their 40-man roster, but I could guarantee you he's going to be a thorn in our side for the next decade.
Because we don't know who he is.
Yes.
We'll never know.
It is definitely giving Cardinals create a player.
Mm-hmm. Victor Scott II? Are you kidding me?
Of course, he's been in 20 games, and he is hitting even worse than Brandon Crawford. So,
yeah, but not against us. I guarantee that. And then you still got Brendan. Well, Nolan Gorman's probably their best player. But Mason Wynn, I don't even know who that is, but he's incredible. Look at his numbers. Mason Wynn, their shortstop.
I've never heard of him.
295. That's because we haven't seen the Cardinals yet. 295, 348, 432, 124 OPS plus. So this kid's going to win Rookie of the Year. Yeah, I don't know. Was he a high? I'm looking him up right now.
I mean, I'm very sorry to let him know, but Shota Imanaga is going to win Rookie of the Year.
This guy, he wears number 0, so he's a freaking hotshot. He's was drafted in 2020 in the second round. He was overall pick number 54. And, yeah, he's having a great year so far. He's got a 780 OPS, 348 OBP. He's coming in hot. So I don't know why they suck so bad, or they did at the beginning of the year, but they don't anymore, and they're playing well.
The thing I'm really enjoying is I'm looking at Nolan Arenado's defensive stats right now, and the total zone fielding runs above average -1, defensive runs saved above average -3. And
that's his thing, glove, right?
Well, he's a good hitter, and right now, based on what you're showing us here, he's at 100 OPS. That's a average, right? That's just 100 is the average. So he's doing fine at the bat, but the thing that he's built his career on really has been the fact that he's got this bat with an amazing defensive ability. And last year, it was terrible. It dropped from 18 runs above average, 18 runs above average saved in 2022, down to -8 in 2023, and in 2024 he's at -1 so far.
I cannot believe the Colorado Rockies are paying him to do that.
Yeah. I'm just so happy that it's finally catching up with him. He's such a horrible I can't stand him.
He's a piece of crap.
He's one of the worst players just in general. When you hear him and you see how he acts on the field, I hate everything about him.
He's selfish, I think, is the knock on him. And so the Cardinals so far this year, they have the 7th worst OPS. They have the 5th fewest homers. They do walk quite a bit. The Cubs walk a lot. They have the 4th most. That was the only outlier stat I saw for us. Otherwise, it's been pretty mediocre, if not average. And they don't steal bases. The Cubs have scored almost 30 more runs. But really the difference is I did some searching, and this was no surprise to anybody watching this. But I made it so it was just May. So let's see how they had done in just May. Mm-hmm. And the Cubs have the 4th worst OPS. And they've scored the 4th fewest runs in May of any team in the majors. And that is only 69 runs.
Right. Because it's not nice.
Nice.
It's not.
It's so bad, but it's so bad.
I mean, when your team batting average is a price at the Dollar Tree, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to score a lot of runs. So, and then the pitching, how that lines up is the Cubs, they have the 11th team ERA, The Cardinals are below that by almost half a run. So their pitching hasn't been good, but their bullpen has been better than ours overall so far. Helsley's having a really good year as their closer. So if they have the lead, they could shut you down. The Cubs have given up a lot of homers out of their bullpen, but those are counting stats. And really what I saw is that, we've given up the 6th most walks, but we actually walks per 9 were the 8th least. So it's just that our bullpen's always out there is the issue. Because I was like, 4th most walks. I'm like, doesn't seem like that. I'm like, oh no, it's just because they're always playing. We don't do it that much. It's just that our bullpen's always playing. So anyway, the Cardinals, they're average in almost every single category. Defensively, the Cubs have 5 more errors than league average. So the defense, we were sold a bill of goods when we were told that we were good at defense. We haven't been. And this is not all Christopher Morel and, having errors, The Dansby, when he was hurt, was having errors too. And then
12 games. 12 games is the bad leg.
And then you got Michael Bush, Brickhands Bush over there. That didn't help, at both ends of the diamond.
It's too bad we don't have somebody on this team who plays a Gold Glove level first base.
To speak in his favor, didn't Christopher Morel go like a whole month without committing an error?
He looks great now. It's exactly what we all said was going to happen.
I have been told by a lot of very smart people that Christopher Morel is no good at third base and he should never play there.
Those people have never been on this show. And if they were on the show, they were shouted down and thrown off the show like it was Morton Downey Jr. So we're getting Morton Downey Jr.-y these days, I've noticed. We should go live. We need a live studio audience. We do. We need a live studio audience.
It's really because I do get very frustrated that I feel as if I'm watching different games than you guys are. I'm watching a completely different sport sometimes, it seems like.
Well, I will always want to know what the fuck you think they should do. Like, I'm like, they don't have good enough players.
Look, and I have answers for it. And I put those answers on the Discord for the Patreon people. I talk about these things and I put them out there. But what?
Ian Happ leadoff, for example.
Well, I personally might not have Ian Happ on this team. Like, I've never been a huge fan of Ian Happ, and he's really not good right now. But if you are going to play him, my point is, if you're going to play him, you start him at the leadoff spot. And if not, you're going to put him 8 or 9. There's nowhere in between for that guy.
Sure. But go ahead and put him at leadoff. He's still going to strike out against Paul Skeens like everybody else on the team did.
Yeah, I watched that up close, and so did Steve Jewell. He said that wasn't easy watching him get 11 Ks a few feet away. Somebody needs to get hot, especially through the next few series. And that's just what it is.
He's an infant. He's a baby. He just got called up.
Yeah.
And he is making our team look like idiots.
Yeah, 2 games in a row. It's like we had just seen him and we still couldn't get to him. So
he is a teenage father, and his babies are called the Chicago Cubs.
Well, luckily, we are not facing any teenagers against the Cardinals. They don't have them. We've got Imanaga. They've got Michaelis tomorrow. Then we've got Tyone, and they've got Matthew. Is it Liberatore or Libertor? I think I've heard people say it both ways.
I believe it's Liberatore, but I don't know.
And then we got TBD, and they've got Sonny Gray. So it's just the ARP rotation is going out there for them. A lot of experience on that team. But you have to listen to Cubs Pod if you want to know more specifics, which means you got to be a Patreon member, which means you got to go to patreon.com/sunranto. But I would be interested over on the Discord after this conversation here with all our Patreon people. Will come over there, of course, and yell at us. I'd like to talk about Ian Happ and what should be done, how much of a leash he deserves, because we shouldn't get into that now. But what we will do is we'll let Cubstradamus have his say and tell us all what is happening next after we face the St. Louis Cardinals.
After the Cubs leave the loo, they will keep hitting like poo. Playing up north, the Cubs come up short when they get swept by the Brew Crew. Happy Memorial Day.
What a dick. The thing that made me the most annoying is how excited he was about wishing a happy Memorial Day.
I didn't even know he knew what Memorial Day was. Yeah, so he's predicting a sweep by the Brewers. That's a 4-game sweep. IFG, we're going to be up there Thursday try to stop that sweep from happening. That's a noon game. We gotta get up early.
Yeah, it'll be my first time at the Wrigley North. I'm pretty jazzed about it.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. So if you guys are going to be at that game on that Thursday, I know a bunch of people. We're going to hang out with Michael Cantor, I believe, is going to be at that game. If you know him, I know I saw Will today at the game. He said he was going to be at that game as well. So I know a lot of people are going Monday because that's actually the day off. But we are going on a Thursday when we're taking the day off. Damn it!
Fair.
So RanterFest is coming. As I said, I'm going to take the premium seats off of sale because I don't have enough seats for everybody, and the premium seats mean that you get a seat, like a actual chair up front with your name, and you'll sit there. So sunranter.com/ranterfest. Tell your friends, bring your friends. We had a lot of birthdays this week. Todd Emmons, Margot Anderson, John Benedict was this last week. Rob LaFrenz. Today is Rafael Morales from Brazil. And we also had, am I missing one? Oh, yeah. Erin Moran, Jose Orlando's wife, down in Puerto Rico. And tomorrow is Josh Oberheide. And I believe Jeff Bjorn is tomorrow as well. And Pat Hughes is on Monday. So wish Pat Hughes a happy birthday. I mean, it's a big birth month. May babies are awesome.
They are.
So do we have a Cubsler? We skipped a Cubsler week, a week of Cubsler. And
we do have a Cubsler. We need to talk about the last Cubsler. Do you have, and I did give you the names earlier, right, Danny?
Well, aren't they in this script here?
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody, David Elliott, is like, first pitch at noon. Is this a game for the school field trips? I went and looked it up on the Brewers website. It is. It's kids and seniors discount day. So if you're a kid or you're old, you get half price tickets.
And if you piss in the concourse, you'll go to jail for
a while
for showing yourself to children.
At least through the weekend.
Okay, so our last Cubsler was 2 weeks ago because I was not prepared last week, but this is what it was. A shortstop Monarch who became a Cub. Second Monarch moved position for the club. Second Monarch coach after Buck in MLB, finally first on September 21st, 1963. And the answer to this is Gene Baker. So a shortstop Monarch would obviously be Ernie Banks. He played for the Kansas City Monarchs and came to the Cubs as a shortstop. But Gene Baker also played shortstop for the Monarchs and became a Cub. He was the second Monarch because he made his debut a couple of days after Ernie Banks. Ernie Banks being the first black professional baseball player for the Chicago Cubs, and Gene Baker being the second. But he moved positions, went over to second base because Ernie was better than he was, so he moved and played second base for the Cubs. Then Buck O'Neill was the first Major League Baseball black coach. The second was Gene Baker, and they both coached for the Monarchs. So he was the second coach. But then finally first on September 21st, 1963, he was a bench coach for the Pittsburgh Pirates when their manager got tossed. And then he got to be the manager for a couple of days, thus making him the first African American manager in the major leagues.
Really?
Frank Robinson is the first to actually be hired for the job, but Gene Baker was the first to ever actually do it for a few games for the Pirates. And Gene Baker is from Davenport, Iowa. He played baseball for the university that I graduated from as well. So he went to Central High School, and then he went to St. Ambrose University before moving on to the Negro Leagues. He also spent time in World War II and did all of that stuff as well. Definitely made his rounds and stayed in baseball for a long time. He was great, but unfortunately, I really didn't know anything about Gene Baker until maybe 15 years ago.
He's not our generation, so.
No, and it was my father-in-law that actually told me about him because I guess, obviously Gene Baker from the area started with the Cubs at the same time. He played, and we both graduated from St. Ambrose. So, it's one of those things that we generally forget about the second players a lot of times, right? We all know Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. And then the Negro Leagues Museum had a whole long thing talking about every single player that broke the color barrier for each one of their teams, the final being the Red Sox. 12 years after Jackie Robinson, I think they finally got their first black player. The Cubs actually had a black player 2 days after their first black player. So, it was still not a great time, and we don't know a lot about, we could know a lot about Gene Baker, but as Cubs fans, as just general
we should know more.
We don't know much about Gene Baker in the same way that we don't know as much as we probably should about Buck O'Neill's time with the Cubs.
Yeah, well, that's where we're trying to change that, and I know that the Negro League president, Bob Kendrick, has been trying to do that too. But interesting about, you brought up the Monarchs, is that Levante just told me that this year the Lost Boys, be at the urging of Bob Kendrick, have changed their team name to the Monarchs with a Z. So,
I love that.
So a bunch of the
Nice.
kids are going to come up to RanterFest because they are finishing a game, and then Levante's bringing them up to the Saturday, which I didn't know they were going to do, which is awesome. So now you have to do something to entertain teenagers too. But they're going to be wearing their Monarchs uniforms with the Z, so you get to even see them.
That's awesome.
So, all right, we got winners here, and somebody's going to win. One of these gentlemen will win. David Elliott, Jeff Bjorn, Corey Furlong, Alex Anderson, Artie Boucher, Scott Sowers, John Pincus. Shall I spin it?
Let her go. Let's see who's going to win this.
The winner is, looks like David
Elliott. I do not believe David has won yet.
Congratulations.
And because he has a vowel starting his last name, it is going to be interesting in how I call out his name. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's move on to Cubsler number 19. We've done 19 of these, people. I'm actually somewhat impressed we made it to this number.
And we're doing a Cubsler at RanterFest too.
Yeah, we're going to have a couple of them. But okay, so here's the new one for next week. Benny was not a Jet or Mussolini. Padre, Rookie of the Year, was a rookie, Joe DiMaggio. David Ross once pirated his job, sending him into retirement. So for the people who are listening, we'll do that real quick. Benny was not a Jet or Mussolini. Padre, Rookie of the Year, was a rookie, Joe DiMaggio. David Ross once pirated his job, sending him into retirement.
Send your answers to sunranto@gmail.com. Don't forget to put Cubsler in the subject. So, all right, cool. Hashtag chance in the chat. I've got a few TFCs, and then we can make our way over to the Discord.
Yep, and I have a couple of TFCs myself. So back and forth. IFG, do you have any?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay.
Actually, I really just have one. I'm going to narrow mine down to just this one, and it's I've never done a TFC from TikTok, but I've recently been spending more time on TikTok. I think it's actually a really fun app to be on. A lot of good stuff on there. So there's a new sign in the left field corner that they're putting up. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I put the song by.
It's going to be "Fuck You Rooftops." I think that's all it's going to say.
Fuck you, one specific rooftop, and it is specifically the rooftop that we spent our time on during 2020, and we're the luckiest fans of baseball when we got to watch a baseball game, which nobody else got to do unless you lived in Taiwan that knew what to do during a pandemic. But I put the song "Sign, Sign Everywhere," a sign, along with this new sign that's going up, and it actually got quite a few views and a lot of comments, and a lot of people on there were saying to me like, "Oh, what are you mad that they own the baseball team? They can make all the money they want. That's the business, man. That's capitalism, buddy." And so this guy too says, Sam said, "I too preferred when they would just put nets up to stop falling debris. Remember when it was almost condemned, but Ricketts footed the bill to repair and save it? He can do what he wants with it now." And SD8998 said, "He can probably afford to clean his own boots, man."
Nice.
Exactly. Why are we standing for billionaires?
Well, you know what? And here's the thing. I'm okay with Ricketts putting up signs and putting up advertising and making some money. I'm fine with that. It's what he's doing right now, because there happens to be a spot in left field that doesn't block their view that has no sign on it. Danny, I think you're aware of this. It is just scaffolding with no sign on it. What was that before? Nuveen or something?
Yeah. Nuveen.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, not even. First
so you
was
could
the old
sell that instead of building a different sign, unless your purpose is to block the view of a very specific set of rooftop seats.
And it is. It is over for our friend Aiden over there and us, to be honest, because that was our hookup over there on the rooftop. We spent a lot of good times up there, but Ricketts has literally blocked us from having fun on that rooftop. So I'm personally offended. I mean, that guy that was like, crying like, they could put advertising. He didn't get to go up there like we did. So, but
and again, I don't think any of us are against advertising for the Ricketts to make some money I don't mind at all. What I mind is what he's doing to get that advertising. I don't think it's really about the advertising. Like, he's just like, that's an excuse to block the view of those seats.
I also wanted to show you this picture. This is hilarious. This is the home run that was hit today by I forget who hit it from the Braves, but it's freaking hilarious. There's a lot going on in this picture. I love the first one you see is the woman on the right who's like screaming like, "Oh my God, I'm going to die because this ball's going to hit me." But I love the open mouth guy that's trying to catch it with one hand.
It really looks like he's got a chance too.
But I think my favorite guy there, and then there's the dude in the lower right-hand corner that's just covered his own noggin. He's like, I know this kid thinks coming in hot, I can't catch it. He's saving his beer, covered his head. He's got his priorities straight. But I think my favorite guy of all is the dude right in the middle that's just standing there. He seems like he's looking at a chick off frame. Like he's not even paying attention at all to what's going on. He has no clue that he's almost getting hit in the head with a baseball.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's my favorite.
He's kind of like looking around like, what's happening right now?
I feel like he's a little bit like me in the sense, like, it's not coming to me. I'm fine. It's
Yes, I know where it's going.
I ain't even reaching up. I know it's not coming to me. It's fine.
I kind of like
He's actually
That's a hot
mid-turn.
dog guy?
Yeah, he's actually mid-turn to try and catch the ball. He's just got the slowest reflexes ever.
That's also me.
I like the woman in the upper right-hand corner too. She looks like she's smelling a fart. It's like the guy in the jeans. The guy in the jeans ain't doing shit. He's like,
The guy in the jeans with that muscle shirt,
Yeah.
he's totally watching. He's like, oh, some shit's about to go down, and I am all here to see it.
I'm guessing he's the one who farted. It really, it's the way I could tell. And so anyway,
That's why he looks so relieved.
yeah, he's like, I don't care about the ball. I'm just glad that burrito's out of me. So anyway,
you know what? By the way, I was watching a commercial on the Cubs game the other day, and they're talking about the game, and they're talking about all the sights, the sounds, the smells, or whatever. Right? The problem is when they said the smells, they immediately showed a vendor putting chili into a helmet.
Amazing.
And I immediately thought, somebody doesn't understand the assignment. Don't put chili on your thing for smells, because the only thing I think of people who eat chili smell like is farts. I'm not thinking about chili smell. I'm thinking about the fart smell that comes later.
To recap for the audience, we have had humor about troughs, toilets, and now farts. So this is your high quality Chicago Cubs podcast by.
You never claimed that.
All given to us directly by this organization, and we love them for it.
Longest running and least listened to podcast on the planet.
Might be. Okay, so here's my TFC. I've got one for Craig Counsell, and I really like this. So this is on Reddit, and the person who is posting it says, I think a lot of people are going to realize they owe David Ross and he goes on to say an apology, because he's saying that David Ross really wasn't very bad. But in the middle of what we can't see because of the way it works, so that I can get the picture, he mentions Craig Counsell, but he spelled it Council. And so Sheffield Avenue Chalkboy immediately says, Craig who? And OK Throwaway Today says, I think he meant Craig Committee. And that made me laugh a lot, because I think I want to call him Craig Committee.
Craig Committee.
From now on, because that makes so much sense in the way that the Cubs managers are forced to manage anymore. It's by committee.
College of Coaches. It's back.
Yep. And then my last one here. How exactly fast is Pete Crow Armstrong? And this was right after the triple that he flew around the bases.
And then got sent down. Yeah.
And so he's talking about how fast he is, and is he the fastest MLB runner? And the response is he Tony Campana fast?
Oh, Jesus.
Which made me laugh so hard, because that is so inside Cubs baseball to even remember Tony Campana at this point, and the fact that people thought he was fast. I mean, actually, he was fairly fast. He was never on base.
I changed my mind. I do have a TFC because I just saw it, and I think that this is going to make Cotton very happy to see. Alex Cohen at Voice of Cohen 2 says, Alexander Canario has hit a 445-foot solo homer in the 9th inning.
Wow.
The second homer of the game for Canny, who is hitting .428, going 12 for 28 with 4 home runs and 2 doubles in his last 8 games.
So this guy,
just to clarify for everybody else, this is in Iowa.
Yeah.
Not in Chicago.
So Canario hits a solo shot in a game that is well out of hand, and you're telling me he can't take Ian Happ's spot? I kind of feel like that's the job.
They locked up Hap. We're going to talk about it on the Discord. Like, how long does Hap get? Let's think about it, and we'll go over there and talk about it. I'm still up for talking more Cubs. So, but I think we can
get your Cubsler answers in, because I already got it right, which means y'all can too.
Yep, she nailed it. Did you? Okay, IFG. Did you actually look it up, or did you just figure that out?
Oh, I definitely cannot do this shit from memory. I have research autism. But
okay, well, no, I'm that's the point I want to put out there is that IFG had time in the like 4 minutes, 5 minutes that we've done this. She had time to look up enough to figure out the correct answer.
I have one more clue to go with the Cubs lure too. And it's not going to help at all. And I once met this man's nephew. That doesn't help you, but it's true. It is. I met him. So here we go. He lived in New York. Here we go. Let's pick one.
Listen, Danny Rocket has met Mussolini's nephew.
He voted for him 3 times.
And congratulations,
Anne!
Congratulations, Anne.
I actually met Anne today. She was at the game, and she is having surgery coming up next week on her sinuses, which I had last year. So I told her I hope she feels better, and I know we all feel that way too. So good luck, Anne. I felt better after my sinus surgery. I really did.
And I have to warn you, though. You're going to get this surgery. It's going to help. You're going to feel great until Cubstradamus makes another prediction, and you're going to be pissed that you ever did this. You're going to smell him through your computer.
Yeah, or maybe you're sitting by muscle shirt guy in the jeans. or the chili helmet. Oh, God. So, all right. Well, that's the show. I'm going to play Fuck the Cardinals, and I hope you all have a great night. Spagog.
Spagog.
Spagog!
Bye.
It's all covered in red. Those stupid crimson birdies, and the fans are all in gray. Always talking about the past and the double lemon rings. But everybody hates St. Blue, and that city is for it. They should just tear it down. I hate the fucking Cardinals and their stupid fucking town. Giuliani and Molina falls victim to the chest, and their stupid fucking families that they step in the best. So fuck you, St. Louis. Fuck you now. Get a brain Lawrence.